Honorable John Jinapor.
Thank you very much, Right Honorable Speaker. Right Honorable Speaker, today it is refreshing. I feel very happy that today both sides we agree that the energy sector levy was a good venture and that President Mahama did not have the heart of the devil after all. Mr. Speaker,
so
it is said.
Look at him. The guy has not even spoken.
Mr. Speaker, the Honorable Deputy Minister of Finance says that it was just a consolidation of existing taxes. I refer you to your own press conference on the 6th of January 2016, delivered by Nana Akumia, when he criticized the energy sector levy and described it as obnoxious. Today you are making a U-turn because you are getting so much revenue from it and telling us that it's a good one. Yeah. Mr. Speaker, if you refer to the report tells you that over the 2-year period, 2016-2017, we've accumulated an amount of 6.4 billion Ghana cedi over the 2-year period, compared to an amount of 3.3 billion over the same period accruing from all our petroleum resources. Mr. Speaker, it's important to state this. We have described ourselves as an oil-producing country. 2 years, energy sector levies, compared to all the receipts from our petroleum, oil, and all the other resources, is double that amount. Mr. Speaker, it tells you that the president and his ministers who pioneered this energy sector levy had a vision, had the courage, and did what is proper. Mr. Speaker, we would make this point clear because you kicked against it, and the record is there. You can't make a U-turn today and pretend as if you did not kick against it. And the people of Ghana are watching.
The whole world.
If it's not a new levy, how come it increased prices? If it's not a new levy, how come you indicated that these very taxes increased electricity prices and that when you came, you were going to scrap them? Mr. Speaker, it's important that we remain consistent. And as politicians, people must have faith, people must have trust in us. And when we say it's A, it should be A, both in opposition and in government. You don't say A, when you come to government, you turn around and say A has suddenly turned into Z. That cannot be the kind of politics we want to encourage in this country. Mr. Speaker, I have read the report. I have the parent documents because we met ECG, we met Gridco, we met VRA, we met Bank of Ghana, we met all the other institutions. And so this report is a subset of all the documents they submitted before your very good self. Mr. Speaker, quickly, I would like the chairman to correct the aspect of kerosene because the levies does not apply to kerosene. And so if we could amend that, it will help us. Mr. Speaker, the ministry earlier on indicated that they were expecting 3.7 billion. That was revised to 3.4 billion. Eventually, they got an amount of 3.1 billion. But missing in the report, both parent and the report itself, are the volumes. And it's important that next time you come to us, tell us the volumes. Because we have 4.4 million metric tons. But you did not give us volumes. If you give us volumes, we can do the analysis. And we estimate, Mr. Speaker, based on a conservative estimate, that an amount of 333 million has not been accounted for as part of this levy. And it's important that we settle this matter. Mr. Speaker, it's also important to take into account the disbursements. The ministry created what they call the Energy Debt Recovery Levy account under Act 899. Just like we have the holding account under Act 815. When the monies come in, they are distributed to the various accounts. Mr. Speaker, as we indicated, if you take the parent document itself and you look at page 18, it tells you the amounts, as well as page 23, the total amounts that were collected from January to December. An amount collected was 3,151 million. 261 million, 2,680 million was paid into the various accounts. It means that the Ministry of Finance collected these monies, paid the monies, and left an amount of 533 million sitting with the Ministry of Finance. And that is why we're talking about the misapplication of funds. Mr. Speaker, if you collect 3 billion and you do not transfer those monies into the various accounts, in my opinion, it creates a major problem for us. But Mr. Speaker, worst of them has to do with the law itself. Mr. Speaker, I refer to our Constitution. Article 174 explicitly states that it's only Parliament, and Mr. Speaker, it's only under your authority that 1, we can impose levies, that 2, we can vary those levies, and 3, we can even waive those levies. In the report, the chairman himself, signed by the chairman, acknowledges that the Minister of Energy instructed MPA to vary the price stabilization levy. Mr. Speaker, I want to serve a notice to the Minister that the Minister has no authority whatsoever to vary levies, to impose levies, or to do anything about levies unless it comes under the authority of Parliament for sale. And so if you want to reduce levies, Mr. Speaker, they should come to Parliament and do so. Failure to do so, we shall summon him here and let him realize that what he's doing is illegal. And Mr. Speaker, I think that our ministers must take this seriously, because we can't just do things with impunity when Parliament exists. This House is an august House, and you cannot do things without referring to this House. Mr. Speaker, we have said that the amount has reduced. As of 2016, we had 9.3 billion. Mr. Speaker, if I owe you 9.3 billion, and I go to the minority leader and borrow 2 billion to come and pay you, that does not amount to a reduction of the debt. And so the fact that you've gone to borrow 4.7 billion to do a swap, you can come and sit here and tell us that you've reduced the debt to 5 billion.
Honorable Member, does debt include the interest you pay on it?
Certainly, Mr.
If
Speaker.
it does, and I borrow at a lower interest, does it not reduce there?
No, Mr. Speaker, it does not. And I'll quickly deal with that. The debt, as consolidated, is 9.3. Every year, you pay interest on the 9.3. And so if I go to get 4 billion, and on the 9.3, I was paying 20, and with the new 4 billion, I'm paying 10. It means that on a year-to-year, the coupon rate or the interest is lower. But the principal remains the same amount. It hasn't changed.
But you don't, when you count your debt, don't you add the interest?
No, Mr. Speaker.
Very well. That's your view. Continue.
No, Mr. Speaker, when you profile your debt, you add accumulated interest. That then determines the debt as of. And so if you were to do a balance sheet, you would say that as of this date, this was the debt. Going forward, figures change. And so I'm saying that if you owe 9.3 and you want to borrow somewhere to pay, you will pay the amount you borrowed. Of course, interest might reduce going forward. But as for the principal amount, and Chairman, you would agree with me that the principal amount does not reduce just because you free profile. And so I thought that we should establish that, Mr. Speaker. Mr. Speaker, the other issue I want to deal with has to do with what the levies has done so far. Mr. Speaker, the essence of establishing the energy sector levy was to ensure that we have a stable power supply as well as fuel supply. Mr. Speaker, the price stabilization and recovery levy was not put there out of the blue. We knew that there would be price fluctuations. And so during our time in 2016, what we did was to work with BOST. When the prices are low, BOST procure huge quantities and store them. It serves two purposes. One, it serves as strategic stock. But when prices are rising, BOST can reduce and then inject some of these products into the system to stabilize that. That is why in 2016, we did not see the level of increases we are seeing today. Today, Mr. Speaker, I can tell you on authority that the bulk oil storage company has no strategic reserves in their tanks. Indeed, Ghana is sitting on a time bomb. BOST is supposed to keep strategic reserves for a minimum of about 8 to 12 weeks. So today, if we have a problem, it means that the whole country is going to go down. In 2015, BOST made profit. In 2016, BOST made profit. In 2017, BOST made a huge loss under the presidency of Nana Addo Dankwa Akufo-Addo. Mr. Speaker, most of them has to do with even the electricity subsector. Mr. Speaker, in the electricity subsector, if you look at Ghana Gas, in 2017, and it's captured, Ghana Gas supplied 30 million standard cubic feet. Mr. Speaker, out of that, not even a penny, not even a cedi was paid to Ghana Gas. Today, as I speak to you, Mr. Speaker, Ghana Gas's debt is around $700 million.
Hey,
and you tell us you are improving the energy sector?
Oh.
You improve the energy sector by accumulating debt? You improve the energy sector by increasing the debt stock? The essence of ESLA was to ensure that there's a cap. But if you read this report...
Honorable Member for Adansia Sukwa.
Thank you very much, Mr. Speaker. Mr. Speaker.
Honorable Member,
hold on.
Honorable Amabwa, you're accusing me needlessly. You were on your feet with Ato Forsen, the ranking member. I recognize the ranking member. When the debate started, you were not even in the chamber. But you wanted to intervene. When the person who was recognized, you're accusing me of not recognizing you. That is not fair to me. Yes, Honorable Member, can you continue?
Thank you. Mr. Speaker, the Honorable Member from Yape Kusogo is accusing this government of ensuring that BOS has no strategic reserve. Mr. Speaker, in the year 2015, Mr. Speaker,
Honorable Members,
in the year 2013, 14, 15, 16, Mr. Speaker, when on numerous occasions, more than I can count, I mounted the national platform and told the people of Ghana that under the government of the NDC, this party opposite, there is not a tablespoonful of strategic reserve in this country. They denied it, Mr. Speaker.
What is he saying a fact which is not true or not? He says there's no strategic reserve. Is that true or not?
Mr. Speaker, but it is not the case that it is true or... Mr. Speaker, I'll give you the years. Under that government, in the year 2014, 2015, 2016, 2016, Mr. Speaker, there was not a drop of strategic reserves in the country under them.
If I understand you,
I do not now understand why they are accusing this government of not talking strategic.
If I understand you, you are saying
they said that there's a national policy that there is no longer going to be national reserve. They implemented that policy.
Honorable Ketiamon, if I understand you, you are saying it is true, but it is a fact predating.
Which has history.
Predating 2017.
For 4 years,
Point noted.
So you should take responsibility for that.
Point well made. Please continue.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. Mr. Speaker, facts are facts. If we did not have strategic reserve in 2016, how come you sold those contaminated fuel in 2017? The fuel we left for you in 2016. You came and contaminated the fuel and sold it to an unregistered company at knockdown prices. If we did not have strategic stock, how come that the 2 million barrels from the 10 fields, which we brought in 2016, if we did not have strategic stock?
Can you proceed with the report?
I'm proceeding, Mr. Speaker. If we did not have strategic stock.
Honorable Member, does the report talk about strategic stock?
1 point.
You introduced it. He challenged them. I've corrected the facts. If you not, please return to the report.
Mr. Speaker. Mr. Speaker, Mr. Speaker, I take a cue from you, and I'll follow exactly the path you've charted for me, Mr. Speaker. Mr. Speaker, this is a serious indictment on all of us, and I'm putting it on record, Mr. Speaker. This is a report. This report does not tell us that the debt, the legacy debt, and please don't confuse legacy debt with ESLA PLC. Legacy debt has to do with the total accumulated debt that we as a country have accumulated over the years which ought to be dealt with. And it's important, Mr. Speaker, that on this floor, before your very eyes, Mr. Speaker, we say the truth. The legacy debt has not reduced to 5 billion. That is not true. It cannot be true. And it cannot stand the test of time. On the contrary, Mr. Speaker, the debt is compounding and increasing under your watch. Mr. Speaker, in 2017, the Electricity Company of Ghana, and it's part of the report, Mr. Speaker, procured power alone. And by the time they finished, Mr. Speaker, they made a loss of 837,576,543.57 cents. That is for only 2017. Despite energy sector levies, you brought in a fresh debt of 800 million, almost 1 billion. Mr. Speaker, there's a popular saying that if you can't get anything for your in-law, at least the small that your in-law has, don't turn around and take that one and finish it off. And that is what you are doing. Mr. Speaker, it's important that we advise our colleagues that when you collect the levies, use the levies for their intended purpose.
Yeah.
But when you take price stabilization levy and you take monies out of it and go and apply it for something different and turn around and tell Parliament that money is fungible, and because money is fungible, you would not use the money to cushion.
Wind up.
You would not use the money to cushion
out of the report.
You will not use the money to cushion consumers.
Read off the report.
Mr. Speaker, I am right on the report in terms of the price stabilization and recovery levy. And I refer to the portion where the chairman himself admits that the levies were misapplied, Mr. Speaker, and that is what I am winding up on. Where the chairman agrees with all of us, and we are the meeting, chairman, where we told the ministry that they had no business taking money.
Yes, Honorable Ketiamo.
Thank you very much, Mr. Speaker. Mr. Speaker, please kindly allow us to explain, Mr. Speaker, what is strategic reserve. But, Mr. Speaker, it seems to me that the honorable member is unconsciously deceiving this House and deceiving the country without realizing the difference between...
Honorable Ketiamo, the debate is not over. You still have 2 people to contribute. So you may share your information with others to contribute, please. Sorry, let him continue.
Under our rules, when somebody is misleading the House, we've got to point it out.
You have the opportunity to respond with the remaining 2 contributors. Please wind up, Honorable.
It doesn't mislead.
Huh?
Misleading.
Honorable Ketiamo, no opportunity to explain. Please resume your seat.
Mr. Speaker, I refer to page 12 of the report, and I refer to paragraph 4.15, which has to do with irregular payments from the price stabilization and recovery account, where an amount of 121 million was withdrawn from that account for purposes not specified under Act 899. Section 5 of the Act, Section 8 of the Act tells the minister specifically what to do with this account. So instead of subsidizing petroleum prices, ensuring that there's stability, you are rather using the money for other things. That is why the people of Ghana are suffering. Because when you do that, it means that you cannot stabilize prices, you cannot subsidize prices. That is why today, people have to pay 10% extra in terms of their transportation cost. You promised to come and reduce the burden on the people of Ghana.
Oh.
Today, you are not just increasing the burden, you are putting them under excruciating poverty.
Oh.
Mr. Speaker, in winding up, it is obvious that this government has failed abysmally and cannot perform. And I believe that come what may, by the grace of God,
Yes.
in the next session,
Yes.
we shall exchange seats and I'll be there.
Yeah.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker.
Yes, Honorable Majority Leader.
Mr. Speaker, the member who just sat down, is telling the world that in the next session, which begins 2019, we are going to exchange seats. Mr. Speaker, those who are afflicted with coup mentality should not affect this house with a coup mentality.
Honorable Aminanta, Deputy Minister for Energy, may take the floor.
Thank you for the opportunity.
Sorry, Honorable Minister, hold on. Yes. Honorable Minority Leader.
The next parliament, not next.
Mr. Speaker, I ordinarily won't do the leader of the House a point of order, but just to remind him a noted historical fact that the Honorable Abu Jinapor is a consummate Democrat. And to remind the leader that when there is a coup, there is no parliament. He anticipates that there will be a parliament. I thank you, Mr. Speaker.